They say the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, maybe you're just not planning your finances correctly and earning that money you deserve.
Let's
Stuff,
go.
man.
All right.
Matt, first, I wanted to introduce you to Ian Main. He is out in Spain and killing it. He's the #3 attractor out in the country. And Ian, I know you don't know Matt. I know you've seen his videos, but Matt Plumer is awesome. His story is amazing.
Yeah.
I know you share, Matt, that you used to be overweight. You've focused on what you want to do. You've cut your weight down. You feel great. You're healthy and you know how to work some darn finances, which is amazing too.
Thanks so much, Ian. And Jason, it's great to be here with you on the international workshop, and can't wait to actually dive in and talk about these challenges that agents have around creating stress-free wealth around money and business and life and time. And excited to go on this or have this conversation with you guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Super excited to have you here. And I just want to get off the bat as well. One thing that I found super inspiring about you and your story, which by the way, Jason, if we can like link the video where he tells his story at the cowboy event, that would be awesome here somewhere.
Got it,
Um,
man.
what I really like about it is obviously everything that you do comes from experience. So you went through what you went through, and then you decided to make a change. You became aware of it. You made the decision to make a change. You made it intentional. Um, you moved forward. It helped. Things changed. Everything got better. And then when you kind of got into the real estate side of things, you were seeing that other people were having this problem. And that's where, for me, it's super inspiring and motivating is that you took what happened to you where things were going wrong, you made it right, and then you saw an opportunity to do that for others and in the real estate industry specifically. So I just want to let you know that that's something that just thank you for that. Thank you for that. And it's something that I think a lot more people need. Um, so yeah, I don't know if you could quickly run over, how you got to what you're doing today and just, let us know how you got into how it is with, wealth management specifically for realtors.
Yeah, and so I think a mentor for a lot of people, Ed Milet, is
Mhm.
has coined the phrase, right? You can best help who you once were.
Right, that's awesome.
And, and so going through losing 100 pounds and facing, alcohol addictions and gambling addictions and smoking addictions and almost losing my wife, almost getting divorced, finding Jesus, uncovering $500,000 worth of debt, paying off $500,000 worth of debt, like when you weave that all the way through and like, dang, that was like 3.5, that was 4 years, maybe
Wow.
five. Let's just call it 5 years. That was 5 year snapshot. And then realize that you just don't have an income stream that, can go produce the goals and dreams that you have. Like we worked our butts off to get to zero.
Right.
Like we worked our butts to get to lose 100 pounds, to be sober, to have no debt. We had a little bit of money in retirement and a little bit of cash in a savings account. Like that's called starting over. Like that's at zero, right? I was 2017, so call it 40 years old and starting over. And so we have all these goals and dreams that we didn't have a way to go make money. And so that's what led me to the world of real estate, just like everybody, right? Everybody wants to join real estate because there's these big fat commission checks and you get to see the pretty houses and TV hadn't made it popular yet, but
Right.
back then. But again, you look at it and it's like, hey, and then you can see socially, you can see your friends that are having success, and you're like, I want that. I don't know what they did to get there, but I want that result. I want that outcome, right? I want that life. And so, which is why I absolutely love social media because even though it is a highlight reel for the majority,
Right.
that majority is also inspiring the minority
Hmm.
to go do something different, right? Whether it's get up off the couch and go lose 100 pounds or go lose 5 pounds or, hey, let's go pay off the first $500 of credit card debt, whatever it might be. And so when I got introduced to the world of real estate, um, I knew personal money. I knew what to do. I had Dave Ramsey's baby steps. I had them down pat, borderline have the tattoo, right, of the baby steps on my wrist. I just don't need it anymore. I can rattle them off.
Right.
However, so when I started making money and I had my first check that was about ready to come in, it was about $10,000. I was having conversations with real estate agents in my market center in Northern Virginia. And I would ask the team that I was on, and I would ask the friends that I had that were in the market center, and I would ask other solo agents that I knew. I was like, hey, I'm about ready to make my first check. As real estate agents, as I considered myself a business owner. I had never had a traditional business. I've always had entrepreneurship or had always had online or marketing type businesses. I said, what do I do with the money? And I didn't hear invest in real estate. I didn't hear hire a coach. I didn't hear go invest in systems. I heard pay last year's taxes and next month's car note.
Right.
And I'm like, well, these guys are just as broke as I am or was, right? I'm at least worth $0
Right. That's it.
at
Yeah.
the time, right? I climbed all the way out of the negative net worth. And so that just sent me on a journey to have conversations out of curiosity with zero judgment to just unpack what do agents do today with their money. And is there anything that I can do and take the framework that Melinda and I just went through and what we had learned through transformation, and can we go apply any of that to that filter to inspire them to either they need to sell more houses or live on less or go lose 20 pounds or maybe quit drinking or whatever that inspiration might be through the lens of money. Because money generally is not the problem. It's the symptom of a bigger issue that generally has nothing to do with money. And so that's when over, I don't know how many calls, tens of thousands of discovery calls, conversations, coaching calls, messages back and forth on Facebook, right? I mean, you had that 10,000 call, 10,000 hours of coaching. Like that is out the window with Instagram, Facebook, and DMs, right? Like you can go into 3 to 5, 10 hours of coaching just on back and forth on DMs these days. Right. So, tens of thousands of hours of conversations and back and forth with people. I uncovered 5 financial mistakes that agents make. And then some of the things that are just the standard in the industry that I don't believe have to be the standard anymore. One is agents just don't make as much as they think.
Right.
Right. So like right there, if agents can understand that how much are they going to make from every check and be proactive versus reactive, not wait for the direct deposit to come in, but know throughout the closing is on January 25th. It's a $500,000 house. The compensation's 2.5%. There is or is not a referral on it. I am capped or I have not capped. The fees of the brokerage are X, Y, and Z. I know within $100 of how much money is going to hit my bank account. Like if agents just knew that, and then looking through the board, not at the board, of knowing that, hey, this $10,000 check is not 10 grand this month, it's 7,200.
Right.
I have to go create more conversation so another $7,200 check is right behind it. But when they just don't know because the head's in the sand or the head's down and they're running on a transaction treadmill and they don't pause to look up and understand how much revenue is coming in, it's the number one place that you have to start. Because too many times, because after agents don't make as much as they think, we all spend more than we care to admit. I don't know if that spending more than you make has transferred over across the Atlantic Ocean to Spain, but that's the normality for 300 million people over here on this, patch of land.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
we all spend more than we make, which generally leaves us behind on taxes and or retirement. So if we just say, hey, this is the ocean that we're playing in. This is the world of real estate agents that don't make as much as they think, spend more than they care to admit, and are behind on taxes and retirement. Right? So, I mean, every single call I've had, maybe except for 5 in the last half decade, one of those things don't apply.
Right.
And then
Well,
the two biggest causes of stress and anxiety for real estate agents are inconsistent income and financial disorganization.
Yeah.
So again, we don't have to worry about anything else. And how many, do we need 14 bank accounts? I think this is just like the part of the process of the awareness of just understanding how much money we actually make, how much do we actually spend, are we or are we not behind on retirement? This is where looking through the board, and this is where getting to our Oz and,
Yeah.
crafting our yellow brick road. And that's where all this comes in. And how can we start to fix the stress and anxiety of 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 deals a month, right? Or adding agents to our team or to our brokerage, whatever your mousetrap is. So that consistency of income is now, we have thrown that out the window, right? We're making, $5,000 3 times a month. We're making $15,000 3 times a month. Like, now, when we start to put some organization to it, think proactive, not reactive. Think planning, not project. Think planning, not projecting. Think planning, not looking at a profit and loss statement on what happened 45 days ago.
Right.
Right? Then we can start to actually build a map on how agents can get off the transaction treadmill. They can throw their phone in the ocean. They can identify the time where, hey, I do have a business that pays me X amount of dollars, and I live in Indianapolis, I live in Las Vegas, I live in Madrid, I live in Cabo, and where I live no longer determines how much money I make.
Right.
Because I think agents, they get into the world of real estate for money and freedom.
Yes.
But like when I got into the world of real estate and I started looking under the hood of all of the team leaders, I'm like, if something happens, because the real estate industry is perfect, right? It never has any bumps or valleys.
never.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because there's never going to be anything that like comes across the entire world to shut down open houses.
Right.
Like that, I mean, there's not going to be that, right? That'll never happen. That only happens in the movies,
It's impossible.
right? Interest rates, they're always going to be 4 and 5%. They're
Right.
always, they'll never, Jason, they'll never get to 8,
They're on their way, baby.
right? And so now, and as I look back, and I think the challenge that agents have today in 2025, if they have not already made the adjustments, is that real estate agents for the last 10 years, I mean, it has been up and to the right, just like the stock market, right? I mean, it is up and to the right. There have been some dips, but for the majority, it's up and to the right. And so most agents are doing the same amount of activity they were 6, 7, 8 years ago to generate 24 houses, and that amount of activity is turning into 8 to 12 houses this time, right? In 2025, that level of activity. And so when you apply what I talk to, right, through the lens of money, is eggs were $2 a dozen in 2018, right? Interest rates were 2.5%. And so when agents are doing this level of activity and getting this result, and over the course of time, this level of activity and the result is coming down because buyers are more savvy, buyers are shopping agents, buyers are just figuring it out on their own, right? Sellers are like there's been a compression here. However, lifestyle has gone up.
Yeah.
Right? Agents' lifestyle has gone up. Americans' lifestyles have gone up. And so now, and cost of living is up 40%. So the effort that you're putting in, you're getting a 40% less return on, right? Which is producing a smaller income, but yet that lifestyle of effort is up 40%. And now you have this gap that nobody talks about. And that's the squeeze that agents are facing right now. And that's the squeeze that entrepreneurs and Americans are facing.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have to go create more money. But the more money and the more income comes from serving people without an agenda, comes from, hey, we have to make 3 calls, not 1. We have to have 50 touches, not 20. And the amount of activity has to increase so that we can now get back to the proper ratio between activity and result, and put a downward pressure on lifestyle.
Of course.
So we have the gap, so we can get caught up on taxes, and we can catch up and get ahead on retirement.
Damn, that's gold. Jeez. You know, it's like,
Go ahead.
it sounds like everyone should know. I feel like everybody knows this. What's stopping people from doing this? Like, to me, I'm not saying that I already know this stuff and I already do this, but it sounds like common sense. I don't know if I'm explaining myself in the correct way, but it sounds just like pure logic. Like, stop living this lifestyle if you don't need it, kind of thing. And, you know, we know that it costs more to live like we used to without making any changes. And we know that, you know, why aren't people taking action on this? What are you know, with all these
Well, I
top-
wholeheartedly believe people have gotten to a point of they're not content, they're complacent.
right,
Right. And I just think that, again, that's not shaming or saying anything. I
Oh, of
think
course.
I think people believe that just selling more stuff will fix X, Y, or Z, and that's just not the case.
Right.
Right. If you're trying to get from one side of the lake to the other and you have holes in your boat, does it matter how fast you paddle? I.e., how many houses you go sell?
Mhm.
Right. I have a client right now that has had some good years, and he's working with me through some of the challenging years. And we had a conversation around, they asked a question, how much does it cost to run my business? So we looked at it, and I said, I think you're asking the wrong question. The wrong question is, how much money do you need to make personally? Because one of the biggest challenges that agents have is and all entrepreneurs, all business owners, the majority, is they look through life through the lens of sales, their business, through sales minus expenses equals profit.
Right.
Right. And if you look at a profit and loss statement, it says sales at the top, revenue, expenses, net profit at the bottom.
Mhm.
Well, in that equation, who got every dollar first?
Revenue.
Well, it goes into the revenue bucket, but then does it say profit at the top, or does it have admin, marketing,
Right.
Zillow, payroll, coaching, events, travel, utilities, transportation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
It should.
So yeah, so that's what it says. So then we get this number down here at the bottom. So we go and we sell the houses, right? We sell 36 houses at 500,000, right? 16, 18 million dollars, 3%, 500 grand top line revenue. Awesome. And then we spend about $200,000 in our business. Okay, fine. Right? Or maybe it's 100,000 and we have a $400,000 net profit. Okay, I have 2 questions. Where's the 400 grand? Where's the 100 that you owe the government?
Right.
Because it has to come out of that 400 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not on that list. Because the taxes are not an expense to your business. So now I get this emoji, and then so we have to work through the process of, okay, hey, if I do 500 and I spend 20% of my business, I'm going to bring home 400,000. I got to pay taxes on the 400 grand. Let's call that another 20% of top line revenue. So I spend 100 in my business. I spend 100 on taxes. I bring home 300. Great. What is your path of money for $300,000? How much are you giving? How much are you saving? How much are you spending? How much are you investing? How much are you using to pay off debt? Because if we don't have a handle on that side of the equation as well, we're literally selling houses to fund our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Versus selling houses to run the money through this map and through this system so that actually, and then we determine our lifestyle so that then we actually have money on the front end to go save and invest so we don't have to one day take a listing.
Exactly.
And so as we walk through that, the secrets of creating stress-free wealth, of profit hacking, savings hacking, and budget hacking, right? And we walk through the 5 mistakes that agents make of not having a plan of how are they. It's not even how, it's what do they want and when do they want to exit the transaction treadmill, right? What does that look like? And it doesn't even have to be the transaction. It can be next week.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that Melinda and I just keep constantly having conversations on is like, what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? And the conversations I have with my clients and students in the wealth department is like, when do you want and when do you want it?
Yeah.
And I just had a great text message conversation with one of the students in the wealth department, and they were like, hey, this is what I'm currently doing. And I said, okay, let me just map out what you said. And I took a picture of it and I said, okay, great. And then they're like, okay, can I do it this way or do I have to do it your way? I was like, well, what result are you getting your way? And it was like, I'm always left to just scrape away and pay off my credit card bill. I was like, do you want to never have to do that again?
Yeah.
So I just mapped out this and that. And then they said, you're going to cause me to have a very uncomfortable conversation with my husband,
Yeah.
who will love you, by the way.
Right. Right.
Like, good.
Yeah.
The opposite spouse is generally my friend.
Right. Of course.
The person that's in my calendar is not the person that loves me. It's the other spouse. It's the spouse that loves me. Right?
Right.
They're just willing to have the conversation with me because they're unwilling to have the conversation with them.
Them, of course. Yeah.
And and I get some pretty significant flack when I talk about like husband and wives and how they handle money and like building wealth. And I saw a friend of mine make a post on one of the socials today, and it's wholeheartedly to the point. I mean, this is to the gut. The biggest financial decision you'll ever make is who you marry. The biggest financial decision you'll ever make is who you marry.
Hmm.
No one talks about this.
I can see that.
Okay. No one talks about this, but your spouse is either a rocket for your growth or a weight tied to your ankle.
Yeah.
Wow.
40 years times 365 days is 14,600 financial decisions made together.
That's really interesting.
The most extensive mistake is not divorce, it's staying with someone who doesn't see your vision. Like, I could post that every single day.
Yeah.
And it will be divisive, like Republican or Democrat, over the next 30 days.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like,
Right.
there will be a line in the sand, and I will have 50%, 51% of the people are absolutely going to love me, and 49% of the people are absolutely going to hate me.
Yeah.
But it's 1,000% accurate. Now, it doesn't mean you have to get married to go build wealth.
Right.
That's not what it means. It means that if you're in this journey to actually build wealth together as a family, as a unit,
Exactly.
you and your spouse have to be on the same page with vision. That does not mean you have to have the same goals.
Right.
My wife, Melinda, wants to see like every what are they called? The wonders of the world.
Yeah.
She wants to see every wonder of the world. She wants to do something adventurous in every country on her birthday. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to play golf in every country, or I want to play golf at really, really, really nice private golf courses around the country and around the world, or resort places.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can we take her goals and my goals, combine that and turn it into a vision so we can go support we can go support each other.
Exactly. Make it work.
Right?
Yeah.
So on
Yeah.
her trips that we go and we do that, yeah, there's a day or two carved out exclusively for her to go do the adventure things. And I'll find 1 or 2 mornings at 6:30 where I'm on the driving range and I'm going to go play golf.
Right.
And I'm back at 11 o'clock, and the rest of the time we can go do whatever we want. Because
That's it.
it's a vision that we have together. We have different goals.
That's it. And
I
it's
like, I
huge because
love that.
yeah, yeah. And
So,
considering
and so as we work through this, like we have to have a plan for ourselves and our money. Or we have to have a plan for ourselves, right? What do you want? When do you want it? We have to live on some sort of a cash flow planning system. And that's, here we call it a budget,
Mhm.
right? You can call it a freedom plan, you can call it a spending plan, you can call it it's not a budget, but it is a budget. You can call it whatever you want.
Right.
Whatever makes you feel good. This is where we get a little participation trophy and emotions. We allow it to come in. I just need you to
Yeah.
do a plan. And then we got to track the money every month. Some people do it every transaction, some people do it every day, some people do it every week, some people do it every month. And you're just telling your money what to do before you spend it. We need a path of money so that when 10 grand comes in, here's what we do with $10,000, right? Owner gets paid, person that sold the house gets paid, the government gets paid, business gets paid. We have to have money for when Ian comes to Cabo San Lucas or comes to the United States. Like every deal you're selling, you need a percentage of that money to go into a bucket or an envelope or an account so that when Jason says, hey, this is the time, you get perfect. I've got
Yeah.
$10,000 saved over here. I'm coming to Miami or I'm coming to Las Vegas.
Or
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
Definitely don't do that. Except if it's the last weekend in May. If it's the
Right.
last weekend in May, go to Indianapolis. If it's
Maybe,
any
yeah.
other weekend than that, um, and and if you're going to do that, you might as well go the entire month and go to the Kentucky Derby, then go up the interstate and go to the Indy 500.
Exactly. Yes. We'll
If you're
take it
ever going
in.
to do Indianapolis and Kentucky, you got to do it in the 3 weeks between the Kentucky Derby and the Indy 500 and just check it off. And then the last mistake is that the fourth mistake is that agents just don't have a savings account. They just don't have emergency funds. They don't have money set up for things that are going to happen in the future.
Yeah,
And
been
the
there.
last thing is that they just don't have a path or a method to actually exit the transaction treadmill.
Yeah.
How am I
I think
eventually going to get off this thing?
right, right.
That's fire,
That
Matt. Wow.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
And it's interesting because it's something, the even simple things like I'm just getting into all of this, um, managing my finances. I'm not experienced at it, and one of the first things that I did was have a separate account where I put away a certain percentage, and I didn't go so far that I was planning my trip to Indianapolis that's where that percentage is for, or it was just it was more of a first build out an account which is a just in case kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
so I have that, so we're safe, so we're cool. And just so happens that I started that within the last 12 months. I've not been doing it for long. And it just so happens that last week my car broke down and it's not covered by warranty, it's not covered by insurance, and it saved me
Yeah.
percent.
Or
And
you're putting it onto a credit card.
right, right. And it's one of the first times that I've thought of trying something, tried it, done it, and it's actually worked in the sense that I created this just in case anything happens, and something actually has happened. And now it saved me. And it's like, oh, okay,
You
if
know what
this
we call that, Ian?
what?
Being an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, but why do people wait till they're like 50 to become an adult though? But that's the
Yeah, and because here's the reason why is because they either are unwilling to get in the rooms, they're
yeah,
unwilling to go seek mentorship or seek coaching,
right.
therefore investing in themselves,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you know how many times I've had a conversation, we'll just say with Jason, and Jason has, $50,000 of student loan debt. He's 42 and has a child. He has a 10-year-old. He's 42. His wife's 41, and they've got $50,000 of student loan debt, and they have $25,000 of credit card debt. And then I say, okay, hey, this is the plan. We're going to do this, this, this. You're going to go sell this amount of real estate. We're going to go do this over the 12 months. They're like, great. And I'm like, it's X amount of dollars. I'm like, we don't have the money. I was like, you didn't have the money 25 years ago when you went to Indiana University, but you still went to Indiana University.
Right.
You didn't have the money when you bought the Tahoe, but yet you still drove off with the Tahoe.
Yeah, exactly.
But so people are unwilling to take a dollar and invest it in themselves for whatever reason. But again, that's just it's the lack mindset that
Yep.
they're not willing to either go bet on themselves or audio is not matching video because they're stuck in a culture or a lifestyle that's just on this hamster wheel that they're never willing to actually do anything to go get off of it. Because
Yeah.
people have the money, they already spend the money,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We all have the money, have access to it. We already spend it. And most people just aren't willing to make a decision to be an adult like you, to carve off money, to say, hey, this is going to be money for an emergency.
Hmm.
I'll just wait until it happens. And then, oh, darn, my emergency fund's my American Express card.
Right.
Right. That's not a good idea.
No, because they don't care.
Yeah.
And that bill's coming due in 34 days.
Yeah. Delaying
You
the
got to pay the
inevitable.
whole thing off.
Yeah.
Right? So I just think that people have gotten so comfortable and so complacent with their existing lifestyle that they're just going to try to outsell their way out of it, and it's just not ever going to work. And so what you experienced in is such a gift of peace because when you have cash and you plan your money, you don't have to do it exactly the way that Matt Plumer, Dave Ramsey, or Mike McAllowitz says how to do it. But if you have a plan for it and an emergency comes, that emergency quickly just comes to an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like who knew tires are supposed to go bald?
Right.
Like who knew? Oh, Matt, I can't do this. I have to pay for tires. And I'm like that's a light bill once a year for real estate agents. It's
Right.
just
Right.
$2,000 a year. It's $500 a tire. Like every year, budget five or $2,000 for tires, real estate agents.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're driving 30,000 miles, they're toast,
Yeah.
right? So same thing with houses, same thing with investors. Like, hey, this house cash flows. Oh yeah, when the HVAC unit goes out, how much does it cash flow? Right? So
Exactly.
every month we've got to be setting aside money for when things break.
Exactly.
Things break. Golf clubs, well, the golf clubs normally don't break.
Well, yeah.
But you need to regrip
However,
them.
but you've got to regrip them,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, like you go to these places and I mean it's $15 to $20 a club, right? And so like I guarantee you, I promise you, there is an account. We have a bucket in our savings accounts called golf equipment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Smart.
live in the desert. You should see what a sand wedge looks like after 6 months of playing golf in the desert. You need a new one. I didn't need that when I lived in Northern Virginia playing 12 rounds of golf.
Right.
But when I play 100 rounds of golf in the desert, like you're going to need new equipment every single 6 months or 12 months. We have an account for it.
Hmm.
So, so make that whatever it is for you, right? Cars,
Exactly.
tires, kids travel, kids sporting equipment, kids, you know, travel baseball, whatever it is, like you need separate accounts for it because, and then the last thing, and when I also believe one of the reasons why people don't go through and play all the way out, Ian and Jason, is because it's going to shine a bright light on
Hmm.
some of the biggest bruises and sore spots they have, which is a lead generation problem, which is a conversion problem, which is they need to go make more money.
Right.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and with that too, I mean, and this kind of goes back to your early example of the 500K. They start, even if they have as a realtor, they count and say, all right, here's how I'm gonna make 10 grand off of this. But what if that deal doesn't go through? Are you planning for that? Are you coming from an abundance and saying, instead of just being, oh, I got a deal and all right, cool, I could take the next 30 days off? No, keep being aggressive with your business, right? And go after two so you have constant flow and you could get off that rat race.
100%, right? You sit this, and that's one of the things that I started when I did sell real estate in 17, 18. I really started getting my traction in 18, 19, 20, and 21, living in Northern Virginia, was that as soon as I put Jason under an agreement, right? My next goal was to put Ian under an agreement before I put Jason under contract. And then as soon as I put Jason under contract and Ian was under an agreement, my thing was to get another agreement and another contract before Jason's closed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it just kept this again. I think I had like maybe 4 deals under contract at one time, maybe once or twice. So I can't relate to what that juggling is like. I mean, my clients do when we talk through that. But again, what a terrible problem to have, right?
Right.
I have 4 deals under contract. Okay. Let me introduce you to the other 92% of real estate agents that don't have any.
Right.
And so, but again, what is that game that you can play with yourself? Like I play with the game I play with myself is, can I work out? Can I have a call? And can I book a call every day? And then can I do that by noon? And then can I do that by 10? Because you start putting a downward pressure on your time, you start to get this amazing amount of freedom. You have a reoccurring income stream, whether it's real estate or agent attraction or your team or a reoccurring coaching model, right? Whatever that is. And you have put such a downward pressure on time that you have essentially another full-time job that you can either go get really good at a hobby, go make more money, go impact more people, or do whatever it is. Yeah. So this relationship between time and money is vital as people go and build stress-free wealth.
Matt, you brought it, man. It's awesome. And yeah, just stupendous. And for those watching, go back and watch this again because I know there's so many golden nuggets there. And Ian, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know we got to wrap up. But man, Matt, thank you. Thank you for just being you first and foremost and being here today and bringing and enlightening so many people because I know it's inspired me already. And from watching you in Cabo, meeting you in person, and then just everything else you do, I know you're going to get many people to follow the right track and be better in this business.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for the stage. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. No problem.
Hopefully it'll impact, more than us 3 guys on here.
I know. I know it will.
We'll
Matt,
see you in
real
Spain.
fast too. Oh, I'm sorry. Put your contact information. I know you mentioned social media. What's your favorite? Is it Instagram, YouTube? What's your favorite that they could follow you and get in touch with you?
At Coach Matt Plumer is definitely the easiest on Instagram, and it has everything to get into ebooks and workshops and all of the free stuff that's available on. And I'll also put the website here. Again, everything's free on there to, you can actually send me a note to say, hey, I'm looking to have a conversation. It's all there. It's all free.
Yeah, because anyone that's watching this, we know that your business might look really good, like that $400,000 coming in that Matt spoke about before, but it's not really $400,000 as an example's sake. So you know where you are, you know what problems you have. Reach out to Matt. You've got his socials, you've got his website. If you want to have that conversation, and like Jason said, seriously, watch the video again. Take notes on the points that he said, because that was just a masterclass on getting started and where to go when you're selling houses. I know from the very little experience I have, it works. And that was just that wasn't even scratching the surface of what Matt does and what he teaches and what he offers. So please reach out if you need anything. Matt, thank you so much for being here. That was it was literally mind-blowing for me. It's something, as I said, it's something that I'm getting into, so I really was looking forward to this call, and I've really enjoyed it. Very valuable. Thank you for your time, and yeah, I'll take your word. I'll see you in Spain at some point.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, everybody.